start with Princess Bride. And let the story begin. Scene 1 on the farm. The year that Buttercup was born, unbeknownst to her, the most beautiful girl in the world, well, there were others just as lovely. She was ignorant of that fact. Besides, what difference did it make if you were only 3rd or 6th great beauty in the world? She hated washing her face or combing her hair, and did so as little as possible. She preferred to ride her horse and taunt Wesley, the farm boy. Farm boy would do whatever Buttercup asked him. She, on the other hand, liked to tease him, calling him lazy and weird.
How's the chicken feed? Oh, Wesley, yoo-hoo. There you are, lazy clod. Where did you put the chicken feed?
My dearest Buttercup, did you call for me?
Well, isn't it obvious? The chickens need to be fed if they are to lay any eggs.
I know, my dear. I will see to it straight away. Oh, I guess I did it. Hit it up on myself.
If you would wake up and quit lying about with the dog, you might get something done. Fetch my horse at once, you silly man.
As you wish, my dear.
With that, Wesley races off, or I should say walks, as fast as he could to fetch Buttercup's horse. Meanwhile, she hears her parents argue as they walk past her, heading to the lower pasture. And Father says, "Really, Millicent? I know what I'm doing after all. They are my cows. You silly old fool. You still don't know the difference between a bull and a cow?"
I beg to differ. You must remember my grandfather owned 2 farms.
Yes, Louis, you've told me that story many times over, but unfortunately, you learned nothing from that experience, because if you had, you would have not named our bull Maria.
But her lashes are so long. She's so, well, built solid and... Come to think of it, you may be right. She does seem to like the other female cows a bit too much.
See, I told you, you're done with a box of rocks.
But dear, my father never let me come to the barn. I should have taken Mother's advice and been a clergyman like her father.
Holy cow, really? I think you would have been more confused at that, as you cannot read. Buttercup, there you are. Where is Wesley? I need him to gather eggs for lunch today.
He is bringing me the horse. I intend to take a ride.
Shouldn't you be studying your literature? I would like to see you be something more than I ever had a chance to be.
Really? I don't know what that's supposed to mean.
Well, you figure it out. Oh, look, someone's approaching, and look at that beautiful carriage. I should have worn something more appropriate. Oh, well, too late now. Carriage pulls up to the farmhouse, and a very well-dressed nobleman steps down and asks the footman to keep an eye on things, as he wasn't comfortable with so many peasants about.
Good day, madam. Count Rugen of Florida and my wife, Countess Morgana.
To what do we owe this unexpected visit, your lordship?
I shan't be long. Whatever is that smell?
Oh, that manure. We spread it in the fields so things will grow.
Manure?
Cow poop.
I should think that something had died here. How could anything grow in something that smells this bad?
Husband, I hope we aren't staying too long at this dowdy-looking dog. I need to cover my face. Nothing is touching my shoes, I hope.
Really, Morgana? Put up your hand and walk gingerly. I shan't carry you. Go take a hike. Because I just wanted the business I seek.
Count Rugen spots the beautiful Buttercup, and he is immediately smitten by her. He was told she was the most beautiful woman in the world, and now seeing it firsthand, he knew everyone was right. Meanwhile, the Countess, being bored, wanders off to see what she might find when she spots the tussle-haired blonde Adonis Wesley leading a large black stallion beside him.
Excuse me. I seem to have picked up a pebble in my shoe.
Oh, let me help. Sit here on this rock. There you are, all gone.
Why, so it is. Thank you, and you are?
Wesley, or farm boy, is what they call me around here.
I must say you do have strong-looking arms. Oh, my goodness, let me touch those biceps.
Shyly, Wesley lets the Countess touch his arm, just as Buttercup walks past and grabs a hold of her horse's reins.
Well, farm boy, I see you took your sweet time bringing me the horse. The Count and I are taking a ride down to the lone pasture to look at the cows there. He may be interested in purchasing some of them for his estate.
Take your time, dear. I think Wesley and I had some things we could talk about.
My dearest Buttercup, we must move quickly. I do have other business to attend to, you know.
Wesley watched as Buttercup and the Count rode away in a huff. Later that day, after the Count and his wife had left, telling Buttercup's father they had never seen such a bad-looking herd of cows ever. And why wasn't the bull had a bow tied between his horns? Bringing the day to an uneasy end, Buttercup did not like the idea of the Countess ogling Wesley like she did. Unable to sleep, she decided to visit him.
Buttercup, is that you? What on earth are you doing in my hut at this hour?
Do you really like the Countess Rugen?
What?
You heard me. Do you like her?
Do I detect a bit of jealousy here?
No, I'm not jealous. It's just
what?
It's just that I love you. Do you feel the same?
I am sorry, Buttercup, but I must get some sleep. Tomorrow comes early. Good night.
Good night. You want me to leave?
Good night.
And with that, Wesley closed the door. With her heart broken, Buttercup ran back to her room. Throwing herself on the bed, she cried until dawn. She went looking for Wesley in the morning, but could not find him anywhere, until he appeared carrying a russet sack full of his belongings.
Are you going somewhere?
I'm afraid so.
You know, the Countess doesn't care about you. She will throw you to the dogs.
I know, but Buttercup, I must go seek my fortune. You are so beautiful, and I have to be the right man.
You mean you love me?
As you wish. Of course I do. When did I not treat you as such?
He kisses her with one of the greatest kisses ever recorded in history. Well, almost that great. She would one day learn that as you wish meant the same as I love you. He left Buttercup that day to find his fortune. After he'd been gone a while, Buttercup started caring about her looks. Bathing and combing her long red hair, she was blossoming into one of the most beautiful women in the world. Seeing, too, the demented prince. In the city of Florence, we find Prince Humperdinck, who is the next in line for the king's throne, as his ailing father lies dying. Count Rugen had been sent to deliver the bad news to him. Finds the prince in his 5-tiered structure he calls the Zoo of Death, in which he houses several fierce and wild animals to hunt, which is the prince's passion.
Hello? I say hello, Prince Humperdinck. I have come to bring you news of your father's ill health. The doctor thinks he will not make the night.
Really, Rugen? Can you not see I am busy? I have a large ape in my sights. He will look great to my collection in the Great Hall.
I know, Prince Humperdinck, but you must stop for a moment. You realize your mother, the Queen, wants you to be prepared, and she talks of marriage before you take the throne.
I know she wants me to marry the Princess of Gilder. I cannot stand any of those people. I warned Father that we should be at war with them, take over their land and be done with it. But Mother is merciless.
Well, it could be worse, I suppose. I have heard the Princess Norina isn't half bad.
Compared to what?
I don't know. But you have no say in the matter. You must see your mother at once. And your living father are king, of course.
You really are a killjoy, you know that, Reuben.
And with that, the prince went with Count Reuben to see his parents. The queen was adamant about him marrying the Princess Norina, as was the king's dying wish as well. After all, they did not want to see a war between Florin and Gilder. So the Princess Norina was invited to the city of Florin, and a big engagement party was set, and all the dignitaries of the state were invited.
Now listen up, everybody. We are so pleased that you all could make it to the engagement party for my son and the lovely Norina. It seems the prince isn't too happy about this joining. Could you blame him? I hear that Norina is some of a show-off. Oh, big hats, dresses, and trunks of wardrobe.
Dear Countess Morgana, must I remind you that Prince Humperdinck must make this sacrifice for the great land of Florin? The Florinese expected. Your jealousy does not become you, just turning her eyes green.
Jealous? I know I had to make a great sacrifice when I married you. I do wish parents would stay out of these things.
My dear Morgana, has it really been all that bad?
You don't want me to answer that, do you? I don't know how the prince will ever get past Princess Norina's hats. They're enormous. I hear she does not like taking them off, even when she begs for even again.
A matter of personal taste, I guess. But I hear they had the whole lower bowels of the ship walks with these hats on their journey here.
The evening of the engagement party had arrived. Princess Norina talked privately with her intendant, as Queen Bella, the prince's mother, and his father, King Lothar, discussed the upcoming wedding, but not before the queen pulls the prince aside.
Sigmund, we need to speak at once. Your father and I have been talking.
Mother, how many times have I told you to never utter that name in public?
Nonsense, Siggy.
Mother, I'm warning you.
Oh, ease up. You're too serious. Now you know your father and I have been talking about the great alliance this marriage with you and Norina will make, with tightening up our weakening relationship with the Gilder.
But I have told Father we should be at war with Gilder. We need that land.
But think of it, son. With Norina as your wife, you will obtain the land without all that nasty fighting.
I would like to chit-chat, Mother, but I see my bride grows impatient. At least I think that is her under that hat.
There are more people than I had anticipated at this party. I must say, Norina looks lovely. I think.
I too feel rushed. But, you know, politics.
No, I do not know too much about politics. I'm just too busy shopping, you know, at the millinery shops and at the boutiques.
I would like to see your face, my dear. But the feathers and flowers are getting in the way, too.
Oh, trust me, dear Prince. This is but a small hand compared to some of my really extravagant ones I wear. I have a real beauty picked out for our wedding. Be patient. You will see me soon enough.
There was music and dancing and lots of food to be had at the banquet held in Norina's honor. Most of the guests all wanted to see Norina's face, but they took in good faith the Queen had made the best choice for her son. 2 days after the engagement party, the coronation was in full swing with the wedding to follow.
I am surprised. There are so few people here for your wedding, Prince Pudding.
I am bored to tears. I really would rather be hunting.
Oh, come now, Prince Humperdinck. The people of Florida want to see you happy.
Dear Countess, I will be happy when this fiasco is over.
The coronation was a hurried affair with only the Queen and her husband in attendance, and of course the priest. Then it was off to the wedding. The music began to play as the new crowned King Humperdinck hurried off to the altar where the priest was waiting. He looked down the aisle as bridesmaid helped the staggering princess to her waiting fiancé. Upon her head was something akin to a tree growing out of the top of her skull, with flowers trailing yards behind her. The maids were trying to hold her head and the giant hat in place. After their vows, as the king leaned in to kiss his bride, his face got all caught up in some kind of netting with butterflies attached. It took his groomsmen a while to untangle him. Later, at the reception...
I'm so sorry, dear husband, for the problems with the hat. I hope you like this new one instead.
It's all right. If you like something that looks like a sausage stuck to a plate.
I wanted to tame it down for you. I'm amazed at all the guests here.
Most came because they did not want to be summoned to court for not showing up under a direct order of the king. And of course the free meal. Which reminds me, my dear Norina, I forbid any hats in the palace after this charade. Is that understood?
Mama said it wasn't a picnic being married. Now I see what she meant.
Let's get this masquerade over with. I need to get back to my hunting. I have already lost valuable time.
Just then, a rush of air came into the palace and knocked over urns and cups, and yes, Princess Norina's sausage hat, and withered her wig. She was as bald as an onion. The prince looked on in horror, proclaiming,
This marriage must be annulled immediately. I shall not be married to a bald woman.
Oh, dear Lothrop, whatever are we to do now?
I think he'll be fine.
Scene 3, Buttercup and the King. The now King Humperdinck has his marriage annulled and sends the bewildered Norina home to Gilder. It almost starts a war, but ex-Queen Norina assures her father she could not be with a man that didn't like her hats. Meanwhile, poor Buttercup is told that her love Wesley has been kidnapped by pirates and supposedly killed. Her heart is broken. Count Rugen tells the king of a beautiful young woman who was a peasant, but she is so ooh-la-la that the king, who loves beautiful things, agrees to meet Buttercup. The day arrives.
Well, Count Rugen wasn't kidding when he said you were the cat's meow, and then some.
The Count may be right in his assumptions, but I am afraid, King Humperdinck, My heart belongs to another.
Don't be foolish, Buttercup. This would afford you to be the queen. Think of all you could accomplish and be.
Count Rugen, though you flatter me with your words, I think not.
Look, you idle-minded peasant woman. You have a gorgeous face out of it, and some other things. But you will marry me, and my insatiable ego, I shall kill you. Is that understood?
Well, when you put it like that, I guess I have no choice in the matter.
That's what I like to hear. Maybe you're not so dumb after all. Make haste, as I have to get back to Florin and go through all the boring details of our engagement.
The city of Florin and the King's Court loved Buttercup. She was heralded wherever she went, during the engagement announcement throughout the land. She wasn't happy herself and Mrs. Wesley, wishing things could have been different. But one bright spot was she had to keep her horse, which she rode daily. One afternoon, as she rode through the forest that grew alongside the palace, she was abducted by 3 strangers and then thrown aboard a small sailing vessel.
Wiry little witch you be.
Please be careful, Vincent. You are being too rough. She is not resisting. Don't be so tough.
Listen, Physic, you big oaf. I am the brains of this group. You will do as I say. Both of you need to lighten up. I and Nico Montoya, we shall all of us meet our destination. Pull the socket as you wino, and be careful with that sword. You might cut yourself. Latine, I have known you and your family for many years, but do not press your luck with your tongue. It needs to remain silent.
Look, fellas, as I don't know who you are and what you want with me,
does it matter much? Does it matter, wench? You will bring us a nice bounty.
He speaks not for me, but I am a fool, you see.
I am sure the king has something to do with this. I have a feeling.
Less said here of the city, the better. I am the brains here, or must I remind you? We do what I say.
Look, there is a ship following us. It is all black. I sure hope they don't attack.
This is not good. This is not good. It could be the dread Pilot Roberts, Hood of the Seven Seas. He takes no man alive. We must come to shore quickly. We have the cliffs of insanity ahead. They're dangerous.
They bring the small ship ashore and anchor in the bay, and they head to the cliffs to escape who they think is the dread pirate Roberts. Fezzik the giant climbs up first, bringing up Buttercup and Vincini, followed by Montoya. They reach the top.
Listen, I believe we have a shadow following us. A man in black. The dread pirate Roberts, I knew it.
Will he kill us?
It doesn't look good, my lady. I think he's a bit shady.
I can keep him at bay. You take Buttercup and hide her at once.
The pirate has now climbed up, sword drawn. He goes after Montoya.
On guard. You must tell me where you are taking the pretty wench. I cannot dishonor my comrades with such gossip. So you think you can take the great Montoya with your sword blade? The climbing has left me short of breath. You know, I really have no quarrel with you personally. I also must defend my father's honor. That is important. finding the fair maiden is to me.
That we have in common, my friend. I've spent most of my adult life drinking away my sorrows and trying to revenge my father's death.
How did he die?
There was a master sword maker by the name of Wesley. He was known throughout Madrid. My father was an excellent sword maker. He did a lot of work for Wesley. One day a very wealthy man came to ask of my father he make a special sword for him. He would pay him when it was finished. It took my father a year to make what it was. It was his magnum opus. It took him a year. The day arrived for the wealthy man to pick up his sword. Upon a request for the money owed him, the man laughed, pulled this magnificent sword, and killed my father before my eyes. I'll never forget him.
I would think not.
He has 6 fingers, so I know someday I'll find him and it'll be finished. Now I must do what I was paid to do. Fight you.
And with that, the two men started fighting as their swords clanged and shone in the sun's light. Both good swordsmen, back and forth and round about, but Montoya was soon to learn he was no match for the dread pirate Roberts. Kneeling down, he begged for him to finish it. The pirate explains,
I'd sooner destroy a stained glass window than an artist such as yourself. I cannot risk having you follow me.
With that, he hits Montoya aside his head, knocking him out cold, and runs off into the mountains. Scene 4. Fezzik and Vincini try to outwit the man in black. The man in black then comes upon the giant and has to wrestle with Fezzik. They go round and round in the circle.
Oh, my little fellow, make it easy on yourself. I will break your bones, even if I hear your groans.
Really, Fezzik, I think you take me for a fool. Of course you are too big, too tall, too wide. You are one big dude.
And you, my fine fellow, are too fast with your mouth and your feet. Hard to defeat.
The giant Fezzik tries to catch the man in black, but he's too quick. When suddenly he reaches up, choking as the man in black has him around the throat, clinging to his back. The two of them swirling around and around, when Fezzik falls to the ground out cold.
You see, my friend, never underestimate your foe. Besides, the old adage goes, it's not the size of the man, but the size of the fight in the man.
The man in black finally comes across Buttercup, who sits with her hands tied as Vincini pulls up his knife and threatens him. He tells the man in black that he will let Buttercup go if they play a game of wits. And now, a game of wits. And Vincini says,
I think I am game for that, no pun intended. It would seem you have more than met your match with me. I am superior in brain power.
That may very well be, but pray tell, which cup holds the poison?
It stands to reason your cup will not hold the poison. You think me a fool if I drink from mine.
You may be right. It's anybody's guess.
Yes, but I am not just anybody. I am Vincini, the intelligent one. I say, look behind you. What is it?
as the man in black looks over his shoulder, Vincini quickly switches to cups.
I don't see anything.
Must have been my imagination. What do you say we drink up and end this game?
Be my guest.
Both men drink from their cups, and Vincini laughs.
I switched the cups. You were now poisoned.
Miss City dies laughing as the man in black unties Buttercup's hands.
You could have been killed.
Oh, I don't think so. You see, I've built up a resistance to Ida King.
Scene 5, Buttercup and the man in black confrontation. As the man in black unties her, he looks down and sees King Humperdinck's ship heading for the shore. He starts to question Buttercup about her intent.
So, Your Majesty, I see your fiancé is coming close to the shoreline. Undoubtedly, he has come to rescue you from my clutches.
I think it might be best as you frighten me. This experience has me shaken.
The man in black continues to interrogate her.
I suppose he is a great hunter, then. I hear he has quite a menagerie of animals in his zoo of death. Is he all that great?
I don't really know. I am not much fun killing things. He tends to be cruel. And how hard is it to hunt when all the animals are imprisoned as it is?
But I hear you are all for this upcoming wedding. Could it be you think you are special because you will be the queen? You do have a brazen way about you for a girl.
I will have you know that I'm not a girl, but a woman who knows her mind.
Really? When did this happen? I thought you to be a foolish, haughty female.
Why do you say that? You don't even know me.
Maybe I know more than you realize.
If you think you know me, then you would realize I cannot stand the sight of the king. I will hold out for love.
You? In love? My dear, you are too selfish and self-involved to know what love is.
That's not true. I loved once. A kind young man, and I was such a fool not to know of his feelings for me.
You could not convince me that you know of love. Now could you? I mean, he must have been a fool.
You have no idea the pain I feel. I mean, I really loved him.
I think I knew this farm boy, Wesley was his name?
How could you say that? You could never know him.
Oh, but I do. I mean, I did know of him. 5 years it has been, I think, since his disappearance.
Yes, I am afraid he will never return.
Maybe one never knows. He was obviously not fit for a queen.
Don't say that.
And with a sudden shove, she pushed the man in black over the cliff into the ravine, when she distinctly heard him call out,
As you wish.
She knew it was a mistake as she realized who he truly was.
Oh, my sweet Wesley, what have I done?
Then, with a quick movement, Buttercup jumps off the cliff and into the ravine. Scene 6, the capture. Both Buttercup and Wesley survive their fall, only to end in each other's arms.
My dearest Buttercup, I have come to save you.
I cannot believe you're still alive. I thought you dead.
I live for you, my love. Did you think I would come for you?
I could not bear to lose you again. I have waited for this moment so long.
I think, my dearest, we must flee, as the king and Count Rugen are upon us. We must go into the fire swamp. They shan't follow us there.
You don't know the cruelty of these men.
It will grow darker as we enter the swamp.
Stay close, Wesley, or I shall faint. It smells most foul.
My breath.
No, the swamp.
Nothing can live here, not even fish. It is so putrid, rancid, nasty, slimy, moldy, odoriferous.
I think I got it. What is that?
A rat, my dear.
I thought you said nothing could live here.
Have you ever known a rat to be choosy?
had since come ashore as they went in search of Buttercup. Her words were no sooner spoken when, looking about them, the king and the count surrounded them.
So, my dear, I have caught your kidnapper.
No, King Humperdinck, I go willingly with him.
I can see where he has led you to believe in his lies. I do not lie, Count Rugen. Unhand the fair Buttercup. She is not yours, Wesley. That is your name, isn't it? I remember you as a farm boy, if my memory serves me right. She is soon to be the queen, my wife, and you will suffer for what you have done.
Please release him. I will go with you willingly and sit at my side without regret.
My dear, this is what I like to hear. Count Rugen, take this impostor to our ship. He shall be a free man. Come, my dear bride, to me. Your kingdom awaits.
Buttercup, thinking Wesley would be all right, went back to Florin with the king, where they would quickly arrange the marriage. Meanwhile, Count Rugen knocked Wesley out cold, taking him to the dreaded pit of despair, where the evil Count Rugen would hold Wesley captive and torture him. Oh dear, things aren't looking too good here for our star-crossed lovers. Isn't that a guy there? Scene 7, the pit of despair. Fezzik, waking up from his lost breath, goes looking for Vincini and Inigo. Coming upon the lifeless body of Vincini, he thinks the worst, fearful that his friend Inigo had met the same fate. He decides to go and hide out in a cave while he grieves.
Alas, I have two friends. Both of them had dubious ends.
Inigo, rubbing his head, awakens and cannot find either Vincini or Fezzik. And where is the lovely Buttercup? Feeling ashamed and unworthy of his prowess as a great swordsman, he decides to head to the thieves' quarters and Nora's hangout for all manner of troubled souls, there to drink away his sorrow. While there a familiar figure hunched over, taking up all the space available as Fezzik the giant. Spotting Inigo, he hugs him. He was so glad to see him alive. Meanwhile, Wesley wakes up to a funny little albino staring down into his face.
Where am I?
The pit of despair.
Why are my hands and feet tied? What is this contraption? My back is killing me.
A little stretch never hurt anybody. And this is one of Count Rugen's toys. He really enjoys hurting people. But then, again, so do I. I expect to get him home.
Here we are, Wesley. I see you met the albino. He's a bit anemic. He never sees the sun down here anyways. You cannot get away with this. My dear fellow, I already have. Besides, I need to try out my new invention. It is suck the life right out of you, Pop. Albino, sanctified. I don't want to push it too far. Let Wesley feel the pain slowly.
Yes, Master.
That hurts. Good. It's working properly then. I just sucked 1 year of your life out of you.
At this point, King Humperdinck enters.
There he is. The black masked fool. Nothing more than a farm boy, I'm told. You think I'm stupid? The thought had crossed my mind. Rugen, show me how this machine of yours works. I want to have some fun. Your Highness,
let's make it 10. No, better yet, 20. Is there a 20?
I thought you wanted him alive.
So you think you have true love with Buttercup? The two of you disgust me. True love only exists in fairy tales. Well, by go, crank it up.
Take it slow, your highness.
You could hear Wesley's pain-filled scream all over the land of Florence, right up to the tavern where Nico and Fezzik were sharing drinks.
You are so handsome, my brave Spaniard. Oh, Fernando.
Please, it is Montoya, the bravest swordsman in all of Florence, Madrid, and the world.
Indigo, you drink too much. This wine has crossed eyes. Bad teeth. You don't want to touch.
Listen, Shorty, back off. This is my turn. Oh, my handsome Fred Spaniard, kiss me. Really? I know I'm good, but not that good. Kiss me again.
My darling, you must forgive me. Maybe we can have a rain check. Come, Fezzik, I know the sound of ultimate suffering. Like my father when he died at the hand of the six-fingered man. Is the voice of man. Land.
The man in black is back.
Exactly. Come, we need to see what's going on.
Scene 8. I cannot marry the king. King Humperdinck has Buttercup locked up in the castle towers, watching her every move. He is incessant about her becoming his queen. She herself is filled with remorse, having nightmares about having children with the king, and they hate her. The whole thing is more than she can bear. She's presented to the city of Florence as the king introduces her as his new queen.
I now give you your soon-to-be Queen Buttercup.
Out of the cheering crowd, a crone speaks up.
You should be ashamed
Why are you saying that?
because you left true love for this. What a fool you are. How many young maidens get a chance at true love? Not too many. I mean, look at me. Old, forgotten, lonesome, cranky, besought, senile, bedraggled, bewitched and bothered and bewitched. Am I?
I get the point. But you don't understand. I did it for him. To spare his life.
You will live to regret this day. Mark my words.
Buttercup, shaken by the old crone's words, returns to her chambers. Later that afternoon, the king comes to her room.
So, another day of you scaring off into space. Do you not have everything a woman could want? You are rich, beautiful, have jewels, clothes, ladies in waiting. Did I leave anything out?
King Humperdinck. If I were you, I'd change that name. Maybe shorten it to Hump. Maybe Pink. No, just King will do. I am here, as you know, against my will.
I don't know about that. You seem to come willingly.
If you call being bound and gagged willingly.
Oh, you liked it, and you know it. I have other games we could play. I do that with my animals all the time. You don't hear them complain.
As if they have a choice. I miss him.
Miss who?
You know, my Wesley.
That ignorant farm boy.
You will always have my heart. I can't possibly marry you. It would take my life if you forced me to do so.
If you miss him that much, perhaps you could write him a letter. Make it full. I will send out 4
find Wesley. Unbeknownst to Buttercup, her beloved Wesley is still tied in the suck the life right out of you pump, as Albino has been torturing him, as were the specific orders from the king. Meanwhile, Inigo and Fezzik have come to the rescue of the man in black.
Who goes there?
Inigo places his sword against the albino's throat.
Where is the man in black?
I do not know what you are asking.
The man in black is back? We don't need any of your flack.
Listen, you oversized buffoon. Do I look like someone who knows where this man is?
I can cut your throat in a blink of an eye. Answer, my friend.
At that point, Fezzik knocks the albino out and soon discovers a cart the albino had been pulling. Inside, they find the lifeless body of the man in black. Scene 9, Miracle Max. Inigo and Fezzik take poor Wesley to a miracle worker called Miracle Max. At first, Max doesn't want to help them, but Inigo reminds him of being sacked by King Humperdinck a few years back. That inspires Max to help bring Wesley back as rebellion against the king.
You are Max? I was told to seek you out. We are in need of your help.
Hey, what do you want me to do? This is a dead body. You think I can do miracles?
The villagers think so.
You can bring him back from the dead, so it is said.
I don't think so.
Go ahead, Fezzik. Give him a do.
Wait, I'll do it.
My husband giving you a hard time.
Listen, Valerie, who asked you? You said you killed.
Max, this poor, handsome fellow needs your help. He is dead.
What? What do you think? I'm a catch? Stupid. I'm not. I know he is dead.
I know you are full of bupkis.
Do you say?
Look, Max, we need to bring him back. What can you do?
Patience. What do you think? I can do miracles?
My husband lost much of his confidence to that schmendrick of a king sacking him. But you must help them, Max.
All right, already. Oi, hey, step back. What is it this young man finds worth returning for?
Alas, he loves a lovely maiden, Buttercup. All his heart.
Revenge romantic nonsense.
Max!
You help him, and it will ruin King Humperdinck's wedding day with Buttercup.
Enough. You have convinced me. Here, hold his head up. This candy-coated pill should do the trick.
Max pushes the magic pill down Wesley's throat. Within minutes, Wesley sits up, calling out Buttercup's name.
She isn't here, my friend. Well, yes, dear Max. I owe you my gratitude.
But it would be nice.
Max, you could do a favor once in a while, huh?
All right, already. Be careful out there.
Yes, be careful. Mama.
Scene 10, the castle gate. Fezzik and Inigo pull the still weak Wesley in a wheelbarrow and head to the king's castle, where inside the sad Buttercup awaits her wedding to the king. Fezzik dons a large cape, gives him the look of a phantom. Inigo sets it ablaze. They plan on scaring the castle guards into submission.
The Messiah, I will kill you. I mean business. I will not spare you.
We cannot stop the spectre. He may have come from hell.
Listen to him. He is the reason I am so weak, and I am the dread pirate Roberts, come to warn you, or there will be no survivors. Open now, or Fezzik will rip your arms off. You think I am a fool? I will crush you and eat you like gruel.
As Fezzik marched toward the guards, fled in fear, he ripped open the gate as Inigo and Wesley slipped past him. Meanwhile, King Humperdinck and Buttercup stand before the priest. King Humperdinck's mother looking on.
The poor girl
Shush. Before you were asked to leave, you and Father were so keen on me marrying. So here I am. Please, take your seat so I can get on with this.
I only wish that you would have thought more about Marina. She was such a much better catch than this skinny farm girl. No class.
Now, dear, you know how Humpy gets. Let's sit. I'm tired.
I could care less, Mother. It is my wedding, after all, not yours. I am warning you to sit down.
The elderly monarchs both sat down while the queen glowered at her son the king. The priest began the ceremony.
We are getting together to unite these two, the bride Buttercup and the King Humperdinck. Please take her hand. Now repeat after me. I, the Queen, you take the bride to my Uncle Wesley's wife.
Yes. Can we get on with this? Skip it to the end.
All right, King Humperdinck and the Buttercup, you are now man and wife. You may kiss the bride.
The king grabbed Buttercup, kissing her so hard she bit her lip. Meanwhile, in the lower part of the castle, Inigo, Fezzik, and Wesley encountered Count Reuben running down a corridor right towards them.
Step aside, you blackguards, before I have all run. So, Count Rugen, we meet again. You look quite well for a ghost, I must say. Then kill the Spaniard, the giant. Leave the third one for me.
Shall I break his head so he won't be dead?
That is alright, Fezzik. I've got this. You are a despicable villain. Six-fingered man who killed my father. I am Inigo Montoya. Prepare to die.
The count turns and runs away from Inigo and up and down the staircases and hallways. Up and down staircases and hallways. They end up in the dining hall when the count throws his knife, stabbing Inigo in his side. But that doesn't stop him. The sword play begins, Inigo blocking every thrust of the count's sword. Inigo kept saying over and over,
I am Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
The count pushes Inigo up against the wall, when with one shove Inigo's sword goes through the count's midriff as he staggers back, dropping to the floor, dead. Scene 11, Buttercup's Lament. Meanwhile, the queen and the old king escort Buttercup back to the honeymoon suite.
Such a nice wedding. My son seemed almost human.
Pretty bride.
Thank you, but I'm retiring to the chambers to kill myself.
Won't that be nice?
Once in the room alone, Buttercup finds a dagger and holds it up to her chest. Before she can plunge it into herself, she hears a familiar voice.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. Why kill the most beautiful girl in the world?
Oh, Wesley, is that really you?
She throws herself into his arms.
I thought you were killed. The king told me so.
My darling Buttercup, it is you that keeps me alive with your love.
I am so sorry, but I am now the king's wife.
Did you say I do?
No. Why?
Because if you did not utter those words, then it wasn't a legal wedding.
At this point, a very angry king enters, his sword drawn.
Unhand her, you hayseed, and prepare to die. I, King Humperdinck, prepare your sword, for I will make you pay for all you have done with the pain. You think I'm afraid of you? Get up like a man and face me. By the way, what do you mean by the your perfect ears alone, so when you are out in the crowds, people will fear looking into your face and how hideous it is. But they may admire your perfect ears. So drop your sword.
The king immediately drops the sword, knowing full well that Wesley was the better swordsman, at which point Buttercup ties the king to a chair. Scene 12, The Kiss. Inigo charges into the room, saying Wesley and Buttercup are all right. He draws his sword.
I am Inigo Montoya.
I know.
You must kill this scum. He is not worth the air he breathes. Prepare to die, for I am Inigo Montoya.
It's all right, Inigo. Trust me, my friend. I want him to suffer knowing what a coward he is. He is not worth your skill as a swordsman. He will also annul this forced marriage if he wishes to live.
Listen to him, Inigo. He is right. Not worth the bother.
I have been in the revenge business so long. Now that I have revenged my father's death, what can I do?
I think you may have the makings of a great pirate.
Really?
Yes. It's a sailor's life for me and all that rattle trap. You would make a great dread pirate Roberts.
You really think so?
I know so.
The king had since fallen asleep, wanting so much to itch his nose, but when your hands are tied, just then they hear Fezzik's voice below calling up to them. Looking out from the balcony, they see 4 white horses.
Look what I have found just hanging around. 4 white horses, rearing and ready to go to town.
You did well, my friend.
They are beautiful.
Go, my love, and jump.
With that, Buttercup leapt from the balcony into Fezzik's arms below, followed by Inigo and Wesley. They all rode off into the sunset, later standing on a mountaintop in full view of the setting sun.
It's unlimited, you know that.
At long last, Wesley, we are together. I am so happy. Would you give me a kiss?
As you wish.
Now, throughout history there have been kisses, with 5 kisses being rated the most